Hello and welcome to the Whitman Freedom Team. My name is Mike Kryzanek and I'll be your moderator for today's discussion about the Whitman Freedom Team. In fact, this is our inaugural programming in which we're going to tell you a little bit about what the Whitman Freedom Team is and what it hopes to accomplish here in Whitman over the coming months and years. To get us going, I want to introduce our founder and director, Tom Evans, who will tell you much more about the Whitman Freedom Team, how it began and how it's going to get involved in many aspects of the life of the Whitman community. So Tom, welcome.
Thanks, Michael. The idea of the Whitman Freedom Team germinated when I had seen a program, Ted Natick, and it featured a speaker, Jamil Adams, who is the founder of all the Freedom Teams. And I heard him and I was turned on. I listened to it probably 4 or 5 other times. I researched it. I contacted Jamil. That was in March of 23, and it took us a year to really get off the ground. I was surprised how much work it took, but we had the passion and so forth. What I was able to do is to research what other freedom teams did. And some of them were nonprofits, 501c3, which allows them to raise money and get donations and so forth. I decided to do that. And I was very fortunate to get a local sponsor who provided the money to do that. And since then, our paperwork is all done. We're official with the Commonwealth. We are waiting for our tax exempt number to be processed. But we are official. So we feel good about that. Part of what happened is that when I spoke with Jamil, I would say for about 5 months, I looked at other freedom teams. And there were some in Natick and Wellesley and so forth, which I'll mention later on by each one and identify each one. And I was convinced that I knew a lot about people skills, but I didn't know a lot about people skills where we would be able to help people resolve conflicts, react to threats, anti-racial kind of things, anti-Semitic, any of those bullying things, those kind of topics and those kinds of actions that are good for our community. So I did a lot of reading, I did a lot of talking. I visited several places and so forth. And so that's basically where we are. Some of the other freedom teams that are here are Franklin, Natick, Hopkinton, Scituate, Walpole, Wellesley, and Whitman. And we are the newest, and our focus is changing. Mm-hmm. There are people on our committee, and I'll mention those names later too. We have gone to visit other freedom teams who do their programs on a schedule, usually a second Tuesday a month or a first Tuesday a month. So we've been able to attend 3 out of the 4 that have been there since we've organized. And one of the things that was good about it, they did role playing, show you how you react to somebody who's angry or who really disagrees with you and maybe says hurtful things that they think is okay to do. And of course, we don't feel that way. What it has enabled us to do is to kind of understand that and know what to do and what not to do. One of the first things that you would do if there is a conflict is to listen to the other person first. Where did they come from? What was their upbringing, etc. Secondly, let them know where you come from, the same thing. And then you give and take, never raising your voice, never doing that. And what we hope to do is resolve things without making it worse, quite frankly, without creating some other conflict.
I know, Tom, you have your official banner up here, and it says love, inclusion, and trust. I think are probably 3 of the most important parts of what the Freedom Team is trying to accomplish here in Whitman.
Yeah. I think some people particularly look at love and they go, love? Love. Yeah, that's why people go to church. That's why people are good citizens. That's what we're about, and that's what a community is about. Doesn't mean love in the sense of you're going to marry somebody, but respect and listen to them. And then inclusion means to let everybody have their say. Let them say it without being intimidated. One of the things that I'll talk about a little later is the number of new folks that are coming to the town. And they're very diverse, and I think it's imperative of the community to embrace them, to understand where they're coming from and what they need and how we can help them.
Yep.
So that's the thing.
I know you've developed a mission statement.
Right.
That. So why don't you? It'd be probably helpful if we could hear exactly what.
Yeah. I'll read the mission statement, Mike, because I want to get it exactly right so people don't call me on it. You know, I've been known to do a few things wrong in my time. Our mission is the Whitman Freedom Team works to preserve freedom through unity in the community. Its members meet monthly to explore ways of offering dialogue and support to the entire community with the goal of promoting love, inclusion, and trust. We refer to as LIT. Moving beyond tolerance to embracing, celebrating, and sharing our community's diversity. And we adopted that one from the Situate Freedoms Team mission. And the idea is, we can see that there's intolerance, but instead of just recognize it, we're going to go on and we're going to say, it's not going to happen with us. We're going to do something about it. So we're going to become upstanders instead of bystanders. We're going to do something about it and not let it go. But it's very important to know how that's approached. You cannot be adversarial. You have to state your positions in many ways. Could be through TV, could be through writing to the editor, could be a poster, could be a lot of ways.
I know you've worked very hard to bring together a number of people in the community from a cross-section of who they are. Could you give us some idea of who are some of the people who will be part of the Whitman Freedom Team?
Oh, I'd be really happy to do that. Our leadership is divided into two things: a board of directors, and the idea of the town was, of the Freedom Team, was to take people in the community who were active, who were good role models, whether they be in local government or whether they be in the school department or whether they be in the police department, whatever their role was, that people basically admired. So I think I was blessed in having these people. Dr. Carl Kowalski, he is the board of directors chair. Sharon Hall, formerly worked in the Hingham school system. Stephen Boyce, Stephen is very involved. He's now a member of the school committee. He was a member of the finance committee, and he works at the Kennedy Library. He's been there 30-something years. Terrific addition. Peg Sorelli. Peg Sorelli is very active in local politics in terms of being on the school committee for many years and also being the chair. Very, very positive person who has a passion for helping others. And our last one is a young man named Joshua Toomey, Dr. Toomey. And he's a psychologist, and he's going to help us with lending his expertise to situations where we might not want to go without being sure we're going in the right place. And then our executive committee is, again, Dr. Carl Kowalski. I'm the executive director. Lucas Moscosos is our treasurer. And Lucas is a graduate student at Northeastern University, and he's currently going to get his PhD soon. Great kid, great kid. I met him when he was a cross-country runner at Whitman Hanson as a freshman. Something clicked, I liked him. And our clerk is the smartest guy I know, Michael Kryzanek. You may know him. Thank you, Michael. And then we have a lot of members. And I'll name the members if you don't mind, because I think they're really important.
It's important that people see there's a cross-section of the Whitman community.
Our chief of police, Tim Hanlon. Tim has been really, involved in helping us get started. I started with him in the summertime, and he has just been a positive and contributed quite a bit. Superintendent Jeff Simonek, he is the superintendent of schools, and he again has spoken to his staff in this guidance committee group of teachers who support kids, and he has encouraged them to feel free to get involved. Eric Burnell does all our graphics. Brianna Codio is a high school senior, and she and Cody Roberts are our two members from the high school. Currently, we don't have anyone from the South Shore of Oak, but before the summer's over, we're going to have one. I've spoken to the superintendent there, and that'll happen. Juanita Burnell. Juanita Burnell is a former professor at Massasoit Community College. She now works at the Roxbury Community College and helps immigrants with speech as English as a second language. She understands their struggles, and she says it's amazing how many professional people are in her program that make her happy every day and know that there's hope for them. Bob Trotter is former school committee member and a teacher. Timmy Travers is former fire chief, another person who gets involved. Nancy Payton always lends her help to everything, whether it be the Mothers Club or any other group. Chris Griven, who is just ending his term up at the school committee. Justin Evans, town selectman. Kathleen Evans, his wife. And Carol Kryzanek, your bride. So, and Carol was an educator, and Kathleen is an educator. So we have a really broad field of people, and we very cautiously state, and we mean, we are not political. We don't care.
This is a nonpartisan organization.
Nonpartisan.
Community-based. Yeah.
If you, we don't care if you're left of center, right of center, Democrat, Republican, it doesn't matter. We're here to solve some problems. And
yeah. All of these people are committed to trying to make Whitman a better place to live and to deal with problems that may occur.
Yeah.
We're already off to a good start, I think.
Yeah. It's funny because some people say, what's the problem with Whitman? Do we have any problems? I think we're no different than any other community that has diversity. And if we don't understand each other and we don't recognize some of the struggles that people make or have, then we have a tendency to ignore them or be ignorant of it. I'll give you 3 examples of how the Freedom Team can work. And I want to just name the Freedom Teams right now. Did I already do that?
Yep.
I did. Well, I wanted to point out the one in Scituate. What happened is Jamil Adams, our founder, left his job and became the DE manager and department head for the town of school department of Scituate, Mass. And when he came there, he was greeted and so forth. But before the year started in the summertime, racial remarks and very inappropriate stuff was carved into the sand of the beach all over the place. And he was really distraught. He was very upset, and he thought, maybe I'm in the wrong town. Well, it didn't take long. Members of the town, members of the fellow Freedom Teams came to his support. They wrote letters to the editors. They came down, they wrote letters directly to him. They came down and supported him. They had a little candlelight vigil. And he said, that's exactly that's what we're about. We want to do that. We're not here to judge people, but we certainly know what is correct and what is not correct. Another situation where our town, our group of Whitman Freedom Team members went to support another team was in the town of Pembroke. And what had happened in Pembroke was there was supposedly there was going to be a change in policy, and the policy was definitely aimed of stopping all signage in the schools, no matter what it was. But the clear objective to everybody in the community who showed up, about 350 plus people from all over the South Shore, was that it was anti-LGBTQ, and it was not hidden very well. Probably the most powerful moment of that meeting, which lasted about 3 hours, was when a fourth grade student, 10 years old, got up, spoke to the crowd and said, I think some signs are really good. I think all the signs are good. In our school, there's one that says, outside my teacher's room and outside a lot of teachers' rooms, it says, this is a safe place. And she says, we have some kids that really don't always behave themselves, but we're able to help them because we know we can go over and help them and tell them that what they have to do to be better. And a fourth grader, the place went wild. It should, that's the way it is. she wasn't tainted or anything else, and she saw the little guys and all her classmates and kids in the school as a place where everybody should be treated correctly. Bullying is a big issue in some of the grade levels, and that in particular is something that young people deal with all the time.
I know, Tom, you're working with various community groups already in Whitman to try to get them involved. Tell our viewers
Sure.
what some of those groups are that you've already contacted and maybe helping us move forward.
Yeah. Well, Mike, we got a long ways to go, and I will mention some groups that I haven't formally approached them, but I know I'm going to, and I do have some contacts with these people. But the ones that I have approached and who have helped us in many, many ways. First of all is Whitman-Hanson School Department with the superintendent. He's been very accepting. Made a presentation to his committee, and that was very positive. Made a presentation to the selectmen. Again, they embraced it. And then the Whitman Police Department, as I said, Tim Hanlon and John Bombardier has scheduled a conference time for the room. I mean, they're very, very, very inviting and very cooperative.
It's important to know that the groups that are behind this are the mainstream groups within town: police, fire, school committee,
Yep.
board of selectmen.
Yep.
I mean, this is not
Yep.
some outside organization that has little support. These are major leaders in our community who have pledged to help us out.
Yeah. Let's get something straight. They are not part of that. They are partners with us,
Right.
in the sense that two of them are members. Actually, each group has a member on our team, in some cases more. But they are very, very important to getting the message across in the public forum. And then a couple of other ones. South Shore Vocational Tech. They are going to be, they are currently drafting up a trifold pamphlet that we have to tell us people on June 8th, Saturday, June 8th, Whitman Day is going to be held in the town park from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And we will have a table there and a tent, and we will pass out some flyers and talk to anybody who wants to talk.
Answer some questions people might have.
Yeah. So what else are we going to talk about?
I think it's important that people get some sense of what are some of the topics that you think maybe that we're going to be looking at over the not only on this show, but that the Freedom Team will try to address in the coming weeks and months.
If I can find my papers, because I know what it is, but yes, here's some of the ones. First one is this one. This is our first show. And then in our next show, which will be in June, the two Whitman-Hanson students who are on our committee, Brianna Codio and Cody Roberts, two great kids. They're going to be part of a discussion with you, and they're going to be guided and helped them be prepared by their staff up in the high school. In July, we have an interview and a discussion that we plan to have with the chief of police and the superintendent of school, both of them. In August, a young lady named Felicia Barbosa. She is Whitman-Hanson's an employee. She works at the middle school, and she works with a lot of the immigrants that are coming into the town. And she helps them with challenges like post office, not registering to vote, but where to go to church or how to approach going to school, just anything that their needs might be. And there's a group of immigrants that are being helped as we speak. Then in August, we have another guest, also from the high school, Caitlin Robichaud, and she's a school adjustment counselor up at Whitman-Hanson, and she works with students and with a group at our organization called Active Minds. And that is a very, very important group because they support mental health awareness at the high school level. And our community has suffered some unfortunate
I don't think
things.
people realize the extent that mental health issues are increasingly at the forefront of what we're trying to help people with here in terms of providing them with information.
I think when you've got a healthy family and you think everything's all right, that's kind of a barrier because you're not aware of the stresses that kids go through whether it be stressing to perform or dealing with social media, which is sometimes a silent attacker, that kind of things. But it's really important that they have an avenue and a safe place to talk. One of the things that happened, I used to be on the board of Whitman Counseling. Now it's Whitman Will, which is a separate entity up at the high school. And they work on the same kinds of things. And people just don't realize that it doesn't start in 9th grade. It starts when they're little kids. Kids coming into school with so much on their mind that learning the numbers or reading, that's not.
And then you have this whole issue of bullying, which is very, very critical and doesn't seem to be going away, if not expanding, unfortunately.
That's
and
right.
I know you have people who'll be...
Yep. In September, we're going to have Katie Boucher. Katie Boucher used to be one of my school adjustment counselors. She now runs a school for middle school kids in Norwell, Mass, called the Accord School. She and Lynn Vanderhoven are going to make a presentation at the Connolly School on either September 18th or 19th. The date hasn't been set. And how to make friends is a topic, and it's for parents, and it's really dealing with bullying. Oftentimes, parents of bullies don't realize their kids are bullied. It's only kids' fun. It's little gimpy kids, and unfortunately, we have enough evidence to show that it oftentimes gets out of control.
Yeah.
You know,
and it's hurtful, and it has a long-term impact on the individuals who are bullied. It's
amazing how many times you see kids who shoot up schools and other things talk about being bullied. They were never accepted that in this, and there's no need for that.
Yeah.
You know. A couple other things. We think in the future we hope to do some things with the food pantry. The elderly are an important group of our community, and there are some things and programs that we hope to do. And then some anti-Semitic rhetoric. We want to address that, and
which is a new issue that's unfortunately
since October 7th.
It's out there, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah. One of the things, Mike, I hope I get across with today or with you, is that the Whitman Freedom Team is different from the other Freedom Teams in that, one, we don't have any money yet, but if you go onto our website is www.whitmanfreedomteam.org. There is a whole explanation of what we're about, who's on our committees, blah, blah, how you can join, how you can donate. And you might say, oh, they're asking for money. Yeah, I am. Because when we do these educational programs, we don't have the money to do that. But as soon as our tax-free number comes in, we will be able to do that. But we are focusing on education, but we also are not afraid to intervene with the help of other agencies in the town and assist people.
And that's why this program is important as well as we move down here, is to bring these experts in, individuals who have the background to inform you, the listeners, about not only what are some of the key issues facing our community, but how we might be able to work with our group here to try to bring some resolution to these issues.
One of the things, you'll see a calendar of events, we try to keep it current. Each one of the Whitman Freedom Team meetings is the third Thursday of the month. And our next one will be, I don't know what the date is, I think it's May 23rd, but whatever date it is. And then there's also on that webpage the dates of the collaborations, the collaboratives. And that's important because they have different ideas, they have different problems, but they have similar ways of approaching it, which helps us, you know. And then if you would like our email account, it would be Whitman Freedom Team.
That's one word, right? Whitman Freedom Team,
all
lowercase.
Yep.
Okay.
Whitman Freedom Team @gmail.com.
.org.
I said .com. No, it's .com.
It's .com.
.org is for the Whitman website.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So I'll let him speak. I'll let him speak.
Gmail.com. Okay. Oh, I've never made a mistake marching kids across the school on the wrong day. But other than that,
but they also can get in contact with you by phone if as well.
Correct.
which you will.
Yep. 617-443-9664. I invite anybody who would like to come to our meetings to feel free to do so. It's 6:30 every third Thursday of the month at the Whitman Police Station's conference room. It's really a nice room. It's informal. Everybody's opinion counts. In fact, the last few ones, we got so many good ideas about what to do.
Yes.
And that's what the strength of our committee is, you know.
I think one of the things that's important, Tom, and I think you would agree with me, is that we want to bring out the good in Whitman, but also the need for people to change and to recognize the challenges that are there, whether it's bullying, whether it is some kind of abuse, whether it's mental health, whether it's anti-Semitism. Our job is hopefully will be to bring that forward and to look for some solutions to these problems.
Yeah, Mike, I agree with you totally. I think one of the things that's happened is that our demographics have changed so fast, and I think the attitude of the government or the country has found a lot of issues where we're at one end and this end and never anybody in the middle. But we can deal with that, and we can make decisions that are the best for all people. We don't always win every discussion or every argument, but we're not out to do that. We're out to educate.
And we're not going to try to tell people what to do. No. We're going to show people what are some of the possible solutions to a problem and how they can get involved with whatever the challenge might be.
Yeah.
It's important to bring the whole community in, and that's what this is about: love, inclusion, and trust as well.
With each meeting, we usually are sending out a blurb that would go into the Express, and just two things: educate the people what we've done, and invite them again to come to our meetings. But that's basically what we're doing.
Why don't you tell us again about the website and the phone number?
Okay.
And I won't interrupt you because I'll get it wrong. So
well, Michael, that's all right. The website is www.whitmanfreedomteam, all lowercase, .org. The email address is the Whitman Freedom Team @gmail.com, and the telephone number is 617-443-9664.
And you also have the QR code now, too, right?
QR code. We also have a QR code. Don't tell me what it does, but I know if you...
It's just big splotch.
And you put it on that, and then you get everything instantly. And that will be on our brochures, which we hope to have, we will have.
In cooperation with the South Shore Votech.
That's right.
Yes.
On Whitman Day, it'll be there.
Yeah, they'll be there.
So we invite all of you to do that.
We just got about a minute or so. I just want to thank Rob Gullickson for his help in putting this together. Amanda's back there as well. And I know that Rob will put this on throughout the next 3 to 4 weeks, because we'll be meeting sometime in June with the next installment of the Whitman Freedom Team. Again, the topic at that time will be what?
It will be 2 high school students talking about life in high school and some of the issues that they see over the 4 years they've been there.
And we've talked to them already. It requires some degree of explaining that things are challenging there as well. That they've seen it in their day-to-day activities as students at Whitman Hanson Regional.
Sure, like any system, there's differences in people's opinions and so forth, and sometimes it's not always a smooth road.
Yeah.
So.
And when we bring in the police chief and when we bring in the superintendent of schools, they deal with that on a daily basis as well. Right. Again, it's important to get that information out if we're going to try to achieve some kind of solutions to these problems.
I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the things that we are not a police state. We don't do anything that has anything to do with legal kind of issues. We do with issues that can be solved by conversation, by education, and by compassion, quite frankly, and understanding that somebody else might have a different opinion or might come from a different culture, whatever it might be, that we can get along together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that you'll probably see Tom Evans someplace at a coffee shop or walking around town.
Limping.
Don't hesitate to stop him and ask him some questions, and ask how you can help us out with regard to your views and your support for whatever issue you think is affecting our community. Because we want to have a great Whitman, and this is one way to do it, through the Whitman Freedom Team.
I've been here since the day I moved. I graduated from college. I would never live anyplace else. Everybody talks about moving here. I don't have to move anywhere.
Yeah.
I have the best friends anybody could have,
Yeah.
without a doubt.
And it's a great town. We want to make it even greater than it currently is. And so with that, I think, Rob, we can probably wrap up this inaugural session of the Whitman Freedom Team with our founder and director, Tom Evans, and say that June 8th, again, on Whitman Day, we'll be out there with our brochure. We'll be, again, every month visiting you on cable here to talk about a particular issue with members from our board, but also members from the community to talk about how we can improve life here in Whitman and make Whitman an even greater place to live. So with this is Mike Kryzanek saying thanks for joining us, and Tom, thanks very much for leading the Whitman Freedom Team and taking it forward. Talk to you soon.